Okay, so now we're going to make some buttercream, chocolate buttercream to go on top of our marble tray bake. So we've taken the marble cake out of the oven. That's cooked perfectly and it's now cooled. We've just taken the baking parchment off of it and popped it on the board. For buttercream, I would always use roughly half the amount of butter to icing sugar. You can use slightly less butter and more icing sugar, but then sometimes you'll find the icing is a bit granular on your tongue. And actually, a lot of people nowadays would say fat is not as bad for you as the sugar.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll add, in this case, we'll add 250 grams of butter in there. Thank you. Because we want to make enough icing for some cupcakes that we've also made. So if you would like to whisk that until it's pale and creamy, and then we'll slowly incorporate the icing sugar. That's good. And then we'll start adding in 500 grams of icing sugar, which is conveniently a whole box.
Oh, right.
So we'll just add it in a little bit at a time. It does get messy at this stage, but it's fine. We can wipe it. That's good, so it's nice and everything's incorporated, it's nice and whippy, if that makes sense.
Yes, it's quite stiff, isn't it?
It's reasonably stiff because you want it to hold its shape.
Yes, of course.
But if it's too stiff, you can just add a tiny bit of milk at a time. It'll vary depending on how soft your butter is. But you can see that's nice and spreadable.
Yeah.
If it was stiff to the point of being craggy, then you could add more milk.
Right.
So we'll take out some of that, we can pop it into our butter dish actually, for icing our cupcakes later on. And then with the remaining, we'll add some cocoa powder in there. Would you prefer chocolate icing to go on here?
Yeah, I think that would look nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
So if we take out roughly half, or a large half for your cupcakes. So we've got a slim half left.
Right.
And then into there we'll add some cocoa powder. To make it into a chocolate buttercream, we'll add a good heaped dessert spoonful or a normal tablespoon of cocoa. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here we go.
You can make it more or less chocolatey. We'll start with that and then see how we get on.
Yeah.
We'll also add in a tiny bit of milk, just because the cocoa will make it thicker.
Yeah. This is looking very nice and creamy, isn't it?
That's looking lovely. So we'll dollop it all on top and then we'll use your spatula to spread it out. And don't be led by me, you don't have to use all of it. That's quite nice.
I think my children would be very disappointed if they thought I hadn't used it all up. And that's the good thing about using a spatula, that you can always get the last little bits up, so you're really not wasting too much.
Yes, yeah. And the thing, you've got no problems here, but the thing I would say with icing cakes is try to keep your spatula or your palette knife quite close. Don't lift it too much. When you lift it, that's when you end up with crumbs in your icing, which you're not doing that anyway, but I just thought I'd mention it.
No, you're right. That's a useful tip. Because that does happen, and then you try taking the crumbs out, and then you make
and then it
another
gets
mess.
worse. Yeah.
I suppose I probably don't know when to stop.
So that's good. So once it's roughly on, and then what you can do, you can either take a fork over the top of it, like you do with the shepherd's pie normally, or you can use your knife and just start at one corner. I think this is quite nice. And just go from one side to the other.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Just to give it a little... Just so it finishes it off.
Very lovely. Oh, she says.
That's lovely. No, that's fine.
Mess of it at the end.
Don't be silly, not at all. Just it's nice because it makes it look a bit more swooshy.
Yes, swooshy is the word.
That looks lovely. And this has been presumptuous. Would you like to cut into it so you can see what it's like?
I think we should.
Which knife?
Yeah, that's a great one.
Is that a good one?
Yeah.
I've got a long one.
Yes. That would be a better one.
Better. Let you do the honours.
Right.
So I would usually serve this in either squares or triangles. Think back to school kind of tuck shop days.
Oh wow.
Looks lovely.
That does look nice actually, doesn't it? You can see the
That
marbling
big fat
effect.
layer of icing. So you can make this in a loaf tin, which would make it taller,
Yes.
fatter. You can make it in a round tin. If you go for about a 20cm round tin, then it would be quite a fat cake. We've obviously gone for more of a kind of tray bake option. But the options are endless. Just bear in mind you might need to change your cooking time. That's the only difference.
Right. Well,
So I hope you enjoy it. I hope
Yes.
your children enjoy
I think
it.
they definitely will. It's beautiful.